Before the day has a name, there is a hush. It is a hush stitched from dew on the grass and slow breath in the shadows. A thin mist lifts from the river, and the banks are silver. Somewhere, reeds click like small bones, and a heron slides its long reflection across the water. The sky is a listening bowl, pale and still. The door of the hen house is a dark shape, yet too open. Imagine you are walking barefoot across a yard that is still asleep. The ground is cool and soft, and the dew kisses your ankles. You carry a basket because your hands, though gentle, need help. The basket is old, woven by someone whose name is now a soft echo. It remembers the weight of mornings and the small thrill of good luck. Eggs live at the edge of breath. They are made at the pace of quiet. Inside, the hens murmur to each other, a friendly gossip, a shuffle of straw, the gossip of feathers. Their sounds are warm and small, the language of comfort. There is a sweetness to it like firelight made from sound. Humans learned this rhythm before they learned to write it down. Long ago, in warm valleys and open forests, people watched birds with patient eyes. They noticed nests hidden in brush, shells thin as dawn. The first drama was simple and profound: how to take a gift without breaking it, how to reach and carry and return with both hands and heart intact. This daily drama is older than many stories, and yet it feels new each time, because the risk of breaking is always present. That risk is the note that makes the music. You open the door to the hen house. It gives a small sigh. Inside, a low red glow from the coals of last night's lamp still lingers on your eyes, even if no flame is lit. Straw smells like summer kept in a jar. The air is warm with life and soft with dust motes floating like tiny stars. The hens blink, their eyes bright, their heads cocked. They know you. They know the cadence of your step, the kindness in your breath. You speak a wordless greeting. It rises gently, and the birds settle deeper into themselves. Your fingers wait at your sides, remembering what they are for. Everything is simple when it is slow. The first egg is cool. It rests in the curve of your palm like a thought you almost forgot. It is heavier than you expect, throwing your memory back to the first time you tried and failed, learning what pressure means. Your hand adjusts, cradle turned wiser by the years. The shell is not merely a shell. It is a promise that has found a costume. Within it, the past and the future are both asleep. You set the egg in the basket on a nest of soft straw. The sound is barely a sound, a faint kiss of shell to grass. You are a collector of moons. Even in the half-light they glow. Elsewhere in the world, in other mornings that look different but feel the same, people have done this. They did it beside rivers with rich mud, in forests that gave up their secrets to patient feet, in small yards behind stone houses, on terraces overlooking terraces, on islands with wind like a hand stroking hair. They did it because breakfast is a kind of hope, and because the act itself has a quiet meaning. It is a meeting between tenderness and discipline, between need and care. You move along the perches, palms open to the small round notes of the day's song. A hen puffs herself and offers a soft complaint. You whisper back. The world is a chorus of gentle objections that turn to peace when people listen properly. Outside, the river brightens. Fish wake and nudge the surface into circles. The damp air carries the smell of soil and green leaves and distant wood smoke, a perfume of Earth's patient labors. You add another egg to the basket, and another. Each one is a small sunrise you can hold. Sometimes, when the year turns its wheel, you think of the first people who decided that birds could live beside them. Maybe it happened during a long season of generous weather, when fruit was easy and time was quiet. Maybe it happened in leaner days, when someone brave decided to trust the skittish flutter of wings. There is a patience required in asking wildness to stay, and a humility needed to keep it well. You admire them without knowing their names. Your basket grows steady in your arm. The handle creaks with the news of weight. This, too, is a kind of history, the story of how ordinary objects learn to carry us. Each fiber in the weave remembers rain and sun and the hands that turned it. Your palms sweat lightly, and the rough texture cools you. When you close the henhouse door, the air outside is brighter, almost gold. Birdsong threads through the branches, and the wind begins to braid the sounds together. It touches your hair. Like a blessing, you stand a moment watching the light spill down the path toward the river. The basket is full enough. Your steps are slow and you walk the way someone walks when they carry the day's beginning. At the gate, you pause and look up. The sky, offered now to color, shows a soft blush. The last star lingers like a shy guest. You think how brave a shell is, and how brave a hand must be. It is the same bravery, tight and quiet, warm at the center, thin against the world. You breathe in and think of all the mornings that have ever been, all the baskets, all the careful palms. Nothing is simple, you realize, except what we decide to hold with care. The river knows how to remember. It remembers each foot that has pressed its banks. It remembers the way reeds sway when a child runs along the edge, and the way elders sit and lay their stories on the water until the water carries them away, softened but not lost. The river has heard the first words and the last, the laughter after a shared meal, the sigh before work begins. It has watched hands reach into nests tucked in willow roots, pulling out small treasures with a prayer to keep them whole. The river never tells, but it never forgets. In low, warm lands carved by water, people set bowls of clay near their doors. The bowls were shaped by hands that loved curves, hands that had learned the laws of spin and patience. A thumb left a print that would outlast the print of a foot in damp earth. The bowls were the size of morning. Into them went eggs, fresh and cool, and the air, still touched by night, kissed their shells. Imagine the village as the day opens. Mud brick walls catch light in soft patches. Palm fronds rustle like someone turning in bed. Hens cluck and mutter, fussing over their small kingdoms. The smell of crushed mint lifts as a child rubs leaves between fingers, curious about scent. A woman steps out, ties her hair back with a strip of cloth, and balances a shallow basket on her hip. Her eyes are careful, her hands calm. She has dropped eggs before when she was younger, when haste ran ahead of breath. The memory lives at the edge of her attention, teaching her to be slow. The village is not separate from the wild. Beyond the neat yards lie fields that drink the river, orchards of shade and mudflats where herons hunt. Wild birds nest under reeds, and sometimes villagers watch them, learning a cousin's language. There is respect in this watching, a tenderness that has no other name. It is not stealing if it is done as a greeting, with gifts left behind, a little grain, a quiet prayer. It is not taking if it is done with a promise to care later, to keep fire going, to keep rain out. In some houses, people keep ducks, their feet pattering like rain on stamped earth. Ducks lay eggs with shells that are a shade of silver blue, like the early sky. The ducks scold anyone who moves too quickly. You can learn patience from a duck as easily as from a person if you decide to. Along the bank, geese keep watch, their long throats working like bellows, calling out the day's edges. Those eggs are heavier, with a sternness that demands two hands. A child learns this truth and carries it like a badge. A bowl of clay is not just a bowl. It is the shape of a promise to save. In the cool of a courtyard, eggs wait, fat moons that will become meals. The bowl remembers other mornings, and the fired earth keeps a steady temperature, as if respecting the closeness of life inside the shell. Even when the sun rises high, the bowl offers shade and a gentler breath of air. It is not magic. It is design born from listening. There are scenes you can almost hear even now. The slap of laundry at the river, the soft click of beads as someone passes with a necklace that pleased an aunt, and then pleased a cousin, and then pleased a child, the wind pushing through reeds, and the reeds making wind's story louder, the creak of a wooden door on a leather hinge, the wordless exhale of a kitchen when the cook fans the coals, and beneath it all the soft cluck and rustle of birds busy with their own tasks, as serious and light as any prayer. It is the same drama repeated. Reach into shadow, find the cool globe, give your palm to it, and lift it into day. The river knows that the hands change, but the act remains. Children learn from watching, their eyes wide, their feet eager. Elders teach with few words and many demonstrations. Do this, then wait, now lift, no, gentler. There, you see? The child breathes, the egg safe in the cup of a hand, the pride rising like sun. Everywhere across the basin, people carry baskets home. The pathways are pressed into the ground by centuries of steps. A foot on earth is a pen. It writes and writes until the sentence is deep enough to guide even a sleepy walker at dusk. The paths lead by the same trees, and the trees learn the faces of the season's walkers, the tilt of their heads as dusk comes, the way even tired arms cradle something precious without thinking. In the evening, firelight gathers, sparks rise, like small stars trying out the sky. Smoke smells like stories. An elder scoops ash aside to find heat and places a pan above the coals. Oil murmurs to itself. An egg breaks with a brittle sigh, light running like a small sunrise across the pan. Someone tears flatbread and adds herbs. The air is full of home. There is a river's worth of gratitude in a few bites when work has been long. The clay bowl, now partly emptied, rests beside the door, guardian of tomorrow's breakfast. Night wraps the village in dark silk, and the sound of crickets arranges the silence. Somewhere, ducks talk in their sleep. The river glides, seeing without eyes, listening without ears. It has heard this, and will hear it again. You picture your own hands in the dark, remembering the size of an egg in the palm. This memory becomes a way of sleeping. You hold the cool circle of it in your mind and feel your breath slow. You think about the old bowls, the soft paths, the gentle geese guarding their nests. The drama is small and tender. It is not a battle. It is a craft. And in the soft of night, when owls call from the palms and the wind smooths the river's skin, the village dreams of holding what matters just enough and never too tight. Olive leaves whisper when the day warms. They speak in a language of flicker and shade. The groves on the sloped hills hold pockets of coolness even as the sun climbs. Between the trunks, light plays like a shy child. Paths meander down toward villas with courtyards and fountains. their water small and musical. In these places the air smells of herbs, crushed underfoot and gathered in bundles, rosemary, sage, thyme, the vocabulary of a meal. Nearby, a hen scurries, its feet scratching, secrets into dust. In the morning, someone walks from kitchen to coop with a woven basket, delicate and wide. The basket's weave is a poem taught by palm and reed. The person walks the same route, past the amphorae lined under the shaded wall, past a clay figure that watches with a contented half-smile. On warm days, grapes rest on mats, skins tightened by sun. The birds fuss, alert with expectation, their bright eyes curious and bold. The steps coming near promise food and kindness and routine. Imagine the kitchen. Low fire in the hearth, the ash like grey snow. A cook hums a tune remembered from childhood, a melody worn smooth by use. The eggs collected at dawn rest on a woodboard beside sprigs of herbs and a bowl of cheese, crumbled by hand. A jug of oil waits as patient as stone. Knives sit in reach, shaped by time to fit the hand. In a corner, on a shelf, a small lamp sleeps, its wick smelling faintly of nights and reading. Eggs are necessary in these kitchens. They bind, they enrich, they comfort. They are a bridge between the fields and the table, between hope and satisfaction. The cook knows 100 ways to coax warmth from this small universe. He or she cracks an egg and watches the yolk settle like a soft sun into a bowl, the white spreading thin and clear. A pinch of salt taken between 2 fingers feels like grains of time. The cook stirs with a wooden spoon, listening to the sound of the mixture on the sides, a gentle tapping that means home. Out in the grove, a child likes to search for wild nests, not to empty them, not today, but to marvel that a bird has chosen this quiet shelf of olive branch, woven with grasses and bits of wool stolen from the hedge. The child whispers to the nest, promises to be careful in a language only children and birds understand. The nest is a bowl built by a heartbeat, and the eggs inside are the color of clouds. The child learns the difference between looking and taking, a lesson that brightens the eyes. At the market by the river, traders spread cloth and display baskets like bright thrones for simple treasures. Eggs lie in rows, their rows curved to follow the shape of trust. Buyers come early, pressing them softly, asking questions with their fingertips. Sellers answer with stories. These came from a farm up the hill where the hens roam under cypress shade. These were laid before dawn by birds that like to sing. These carry a taste of wild herbs because the birds peck under time. The market hums with barter, laughter, and the clink of coins. The river watches it all and purses its lips into ripples. Sometimes, on certain days when celebrations lean toward joy, the kitchen becomes a theatre. Eggs whisked with milk and herbs become a custard that quivers like a moon captured in a dish. They puff in pans, golden and proud, steaming when the knife cuts a neat square. The cook lifts a piece and its edges breathe out their scent. A child claps. A guest smiles at the simple, perfect rightness of hot food and a shaded place to eat. The groves feel the music of happiness. Wind moves through leaves with sounds like hands patting soft clay. Dust settles back down after dancing on sunbeams. The path from coop to kitchen grows more worn, a line of tenderness traced by the repetition of care. Collecting eggs remains a discipline. Hands must not hurry. To hurry is to invite the small, heartbreaking sound of a crack. The cook's helper, a boy whose fingers are longer than last year, learns quickly. He cups each egg in the meat of his palm and folds his hand gently, making a cave of bone and skin. He thinks of the shell as a secret, whispered too easily if he is careless. He learns the lightness that is not weakness, the strength that rests in restraint. Olive branches curve overhead as the day ripens. Bees visit blossoms and hum philosophical questions that only flowers answer. A dog sleeps in the doorway where the breeze is boldest. Someone laughs in another courtyard, a sudden bell of sound. The cook slides a pan from the coals with careful wrists and calls everyone to eat. Bread is torn, dipped, lifted. Faces relax. The olives, glossy in a shallow bowl, shine like midnight stones. The eggs on the plate, baked with herbs, glow a tender yellow like the inside of a promise. In the quiet afterward, when the table is crumbs and gratitude, someone steps outside holding a last egg, forgotten in the rush. It sits cool in a warm palm. The world tilts, thoughtful. The person traces a thumb across the shell, feels the faint texture like breath made visible. He thinks about the chicken who made it, the feed she pecked, the dust bath she took, rolling joyfully. He thinks about people he will never meet, who do this same small deed in other places where the sun rises on a different side of the house, and yet the egg feels the same. The day wanders toward the river. Shadows stretch, content to lengthen. The air smells of crushed grass and distant cooking fires, a mingling of homes. Tonight, lamps will be lit, and stories will be told about chance and skill, about how a single hand, steady and kind, can keep a world from breaking. And the olive leaves will whisper, still that the simplest tasks require the deepest attention, and that this attention is a form of love. Morning in a hill village opens with bells, not loud bells, not harsh ones. Their sound is shaped by distance and leaves, softened by moss on stone. They roll over the roofs, over slate and thatch, along the lanes where mud dries in long tongues, and across the fields where hay waits in dew. The forest beyond the fields stands as a patient choir, its pines learning the wind's hymns. The bell's tone becomes a hand that lifts the day. Here, collecting eggs is a ceremony as old as the bell, and older. The baskets hang beside the door, each with a different personality, one fat and jolly, one narrow and precise, one a little unruly in its weave. Girls and boys, mothers and uncles, elders with hands like fine bark. They choose their basket and step out into air that smells of bread. The bread came from ovens lit before dawn, bricks warmed by embers sleeping inside them as if the night itself were tame. The path to the chicken yard is lined with hedges that hold secrets, bird nests, the wind's lost hair, berries that stain mouths with joy. Frogs have left scribbles in the wet clay. A fox once trotted along this path, seen by no one, and left only the thought of red fur in a mind keen enough to imagine it. The gate latch lifts with a small cough from old iron, and the hens parade out into light, each with her own agenda, each with her own commentary on seed and sun. Inside the coop, shadows sit with the straw. It is dry here, even when the world is washed. Feathers lie like bookmarks in a book you love and reread. The air holds the faint tartness of grain and the honest breath of birds. A child crouches, eyes intent, and reaches under a warm belly. The hen makes a question sound, not displeased. The child whispers, as taught, "Thank you." It is a transaction of respect. In the village, faith lives near the soil. There are days when eggs are set aside, a devotion that says no to the body, in order to say yes to the soul. On those days, the baskets fill and then wait, their contents given to neighbors, to elders, to anyone whose table is thin. On other days, when celebration calls, eggs are coloured with pigments that bloom like a garden on a surface smooth as a river stone. Colours are chosen with care, red to echo the heart, gold to echo the sun, green to echo the forest's endless patience. Children carry them carefully to the threshing floor, eyes wrinkled in concentration, and adults smile at the quiet drama of balancing light in both hands. The forest is very present. Its tall trees comb the wind, leaving it softer when it reaches the village. Birds from the forest sometimes wander in. Sparrows, finches, a bold jay telling jokes in blue. They land on the coop roof and watch, head tilted, learning the gentle ways of the villagers. Sometimes a feather drifts down like a blessing. The wind picks it up and carries it over the stream, where it rests for a moment on a little wave and then rises again, liberated. An elder sits on a bench polishing a wooden spoon. The spoon's bowl glows with a soft sheen born from thousands of stirrings. He has a way with eggs, this elder. He can crack one with a thumb and a forefinger and never spill a drop. He knows the exact moment to pull a pan of scrambled softness from the flame when it holds the shape of clouds but still remembers rain. He teaches by letting you stand at his elbow. He teaches by letting silence do most of the talking. The bells later in the day call everyone's eyes upward again. Their sound is braided with the sound of the saw at the mill, the chatter of a cartwheel, the far-off lowing of cows. The village breathes in one rhythm. Eggs move through this breath like a gentle pulse, from nest to basket, from basket to board, from board to pan, from pan to plate, from plate to someone's grateful stomach. In winter, collecting is a brave act. Fingers go numb and the shell presses cold into the skin. Baskets fill slower and feel heavier. The ground is stiff, and little clouds of breath mark each step. The hens gather tight, sharing warmth, and the straw crackles with frost. Yet even then the drama remains sweet. The child who learns to curl fingers around an egg in deep winter learns something tender about toughness. The forest stands bare and honest, its bones beautiful. Smoke rises from chimneys, writing short letters to the sky, and the bells secure the day like old friends. There is continued talk of giving and sharing. Households leave extra eggs on doorsteps, a kindness that needs no author. Windows open onto lanes where children run with scarves trailing like small comets. The old bench by the coop keeps the shape of those who sit and talk about the weather, as if weather were a personal friend, which it is. The wind combs their hair and leaves them laughing. At dusk, the forest leans in, and the wind sings in a lower key. The bells, now quiet, leave a memory of sound that vibrates in ribs. Kitchen, glow. A pan hisses when eggs meet butter, and someone squeezes a lemon with a satisfied hum. A loaf is torn in half, and steam escapes like an answered prayer. The elder nods at how well you kept the shells unbroken, how steady your hands have grown, and when night fully comes, the village sleeps under a sky where stars are eggs that never fall. The forest stands as guardian, and the wind, having sung its songs, folds itself like a bird into a nest. On a shelf near the door, a basket waits ready to learn tomorrow's lesson all over again, how to hold fragile things and not let them slip. There is a kind of blue that only winter knows. It arrives almost without sound, a hush that the whole land understands. The river seems to move more slowly, the fields are seas of frost, their waves frozen mid-lilt. Wood piles become important. Boots by the door line up like soldiers who have learned patience. In the yard, the hen house wears a hat of snow, and the hens speak more softly, as if sound could break the cold. In winter, an egg is a victory. The hens, made of feathers and grit, work harder under a thin sun. People respond by giving them shelter from the wind, thick straw, warm mash. The door is open just enough, just long enough, to change the air without letting the hard hand of cold find the birds. It is a dance of careful generosity. Everything breathes more slowly, as if the season's clock ticks with gloves on. Imagine a root cellar under the house, packed earth walls, and a scent that blends apples, potatoes, earth, and thyme. The floor is cold and even. Wooden shelves hold jars that glitter like captured evenings. Preserved peaches, tomatoes the color of late summer, pickles that remember a garden in June. Here, eggs rest in crocks of water glass, or in boxes of bran, or wrapped in waxed cloth. People learn the art of keeping from listening to winter, how to plant hopes in the fall, and harvest them when everything outside is shadows and wind. The basket weighs more in cold hands. The handle is stiff. Straw squeaks like a mouse. Breath makes little clouds that vanish as quickly as they rise. Inside the coop, the air is warmer, chalked with dust, and alive with the smell of living things. A hen shifts, offers a chiding remark, and then, as if agreeing that you have earned it, lifts just enough for your hand to move under her. The egg beneath her is warm, almost hot, and your palm thrills with the gift of it. Heat through shell, bright as a secret. Every winter carries stories of carefulness. A child learns to move slowly in boots too big. An elder shows how to breathe on your own fingers to bring them back to life. A mother wraps a scarf twice around a neck too thin for that wind. A father cuts wood with a steady rhythm, each stroke a promise of tomorrow's fire. The henhouse door opens just enough, and the egg moves from nest to hand, from hand to basket, from basket to home, each transfer precise, so that heat remains where it belongs. In the dusk, when firelight paints the walls with gold, eggs go in too, a pan with onions browned deep and sweet. The sound when egg meets cast iron is cheerful, like a conversation between old friends. The egg thickens, then spirals, then pillows, and someone folds it over with a wooden spatula. On the table, an old candle burns with a small flame, its light an island in the ocean of winter blue. A window shows a moon riding low, ice bright and distant. Forks lift in slow, grateful arcs. People tell stories in winter because the walls listen and the fire keeps secrets. Stories of many cold seasons and the service of careful hands. The one about the night the wind tried to take the roof, and the baskets rattled on their hooks but did not fall. The one about the blizzard that drifted a path that led nowhere, but eyes closed and found a way anyway. The one about an egg gathered in a storm and slipped into a pocket over a heart, where it stayed warm until home was not far, but the miles were hard. You can feel the egg in that story, even as you sit at the table now, your fingers wrapped around a mug of something hot. Winds weave through the bare branches, and the forest beyond the fields lifts its dark shoulders to meet it. The river groans, under thin ice where shallow water tries to pretend it is too stubborn to freeze. The sky's blue is darker near the ground, and paler near the stars. Somewhere, a fox leaves light footprints and does not know how beautiful they are. It is good to feel the rhythm of these days, the steady inward turning that winter asks. The egg in your hand earlier felt like a small sun, and now the fire returns. Its echo. You carry both feelings into your chest, where breath meets belonging. Rest now, with winter outside and warmth in your palm. as if the shell were still there, and the heat were a quiet heart. Let your breath be the steady wind that does not break branches, only combs them. Close your eyes if you wish, seeing the egg's roundness float on a river of night. Feel safety the way a hen feels straw. Simple enough, soft against the body. The basket is by the door. It will be there in the morning, ready to learn light again. The century turns its gears, and iron begins to sing. Trains slice the countryside, their long bodies a moving horizon. Smoke trails like a new kind of cloud, dark with ambition. Stations rise of brick and iron, clocks fixed to their faces like new moons pinned to walls. Goods move in unheard-of rhythms, faster than rivers, less patient than wind. Markets swell. A table that once held a neighbour's eggs now holds eggs from far fields, their shells wearing stamps and the faint smell of straw from somewhere else. In lantern markets by river docks, light doubles, one flame on the hook, one in the water's sway. Vendors call soft as if not to startle the night. Baskets sit on boards, eggs nested like pearls. Buyers touch, then lift one to the lantern's glow. The shell shows its secrets, speckles like stars, a bloom that means freshness, a hairline. Crack that might be hunger's undoing. People learn to judge with both hand and eye. They learn a new word, standard, and hold it carefully, because standards keep everyone honest when faces change with the day's tide. The daily drama of not breaking grows new rooms. Eggs travel further. They jostle with the world's impatience, passing through hands that do not know the hens who laid them. To care becomes an act of imagination. A boy on a platform takes a crate from a train and sets it down as if lowering a sleeping child into a bed. He has heard stories from his grandmother about the spring when their hens first laid under the apple tree and the shells then tasted faintly of blossoms. He touches the crate with those stories in his fingers. Technology sits at the table with tenderness. Lamps your grandparents lit now share work with bulbs that hum like bees caught in glass. In big rooms, people hold eggs to light to read the shadow of what lies within, the way farmers once held them to candle in quiet kitchens. Hands continue their tutoring role, teaching a new generation that light is not a threat if brought near, with care. The shells do not like harshness, but they learn to trust a certain kind of attention. Iron rails lead to cities where rooftops are seas and chimneys are forests. In courtyards, chickens scratch dusty opera on packed earth. They look out of place, and yet they make the place make sense. A child watches a hen lay for the first time and is surprised by the sound the hen makes, a prideful cackle that seems bigger than the bird itself. He laughs, and the laugh lifts onto a balcony, then sails into the alley where someone else, hidden, laughs too. The river still moves under the bridges. No matter how many trains run parallel to it, the river refuses to hurry. It spreads the news in its own language, scattered light and soft eddies, a steady voice that refuses to be drowned out. The lantern markets make shadows upon its skin, and the river keeps those shadows like signatures, then loosens them gently, because a river prefers moment to monument. At home, newer stoves sit in kitchens, their doors opening like black mouths that breathe heat, tamed flame behind iron. Pans grow heavier, but hands adapt. Someone pours a thin stream of egg into a hot pan and writes a lace of crispness, gossamer, and golden. Someone else beats whites until they stand like stiff hills, and sugar makes them shine like snow under moonlight. A grandmother shakes her head at marvels and admires them anyway. A child sneaks a bite and whispers that the inside is a cloud. With iron roads and lantern markets comes a new kind of kindness, anonymous but genuine. People who will never share a table share an act of trust. A clerk in a warehouse marks crates with a careful hand. A carter takes corners slowly, mindful that jolts have consequences. A grocer refuses to set the box too near the stove's warmth. None of them know the breakfast that will thank them by name, but all of them know the feeling of not breaking what is easily broken. That feeling is a quiet standard, and it spreads. The forest watches all this from the edges of fields. Trees bend their heads to see the trains rush by and murmur to each other in leaf speech. Their roots, old as memory, know the slower rhythm better, but they respect the new song. Rivers breathe along the ties, and the wind refuses to favor one over the other, carrying soot to oak and pollen to platform. At night, markets wind down, the lanterns guttering. The last eggs are sold. The basket's bottoms are visible again, empty like promises kept. Someone sweeps, and the sound on wood is reassuring. A train blows its horn, a long note that belongs to the dark. People go home to kitchens where this table still has the same worn edge, and the chair still has the same wobble, and the eggs still crack with a sound that the century cannot improve. You carry an egg to the window and hold it to the new light, electric and bright. You see the shadow of a small world turning inside. You think of the river, the forest, the iron roads, and you understand that the art has not changed. Hold it with the same heart. Place it in a pan with the same breath. Eat it with the same gratitude. Let progress pass through your house like wind through pines, leaving what matters untouched. The sky goes darker in certain years. Stars are hidden by orders and smoke. Curtains are drawn tight even when evening still lingers on the edge of roofs. Sirens learn the streets and give them names made of sound. Yet inside, in cramped kitchens and basements warmed by hearts more than stoves, the light is kept. The small dome of an egg becomes a symbol of ordinary bravery, a daily insistence that mornings can still be ordinary. In times when rations stretch thin, people count eggs the way they count days. One for today, one for Sunday, if nothing breaks. Hens become allies. They scratch behind barriers of sandbags. They hide under makeshift roofs. They lay in boxes lined with clothes for warmth. They write their round testimonies into the ledger of courage. A girl carries a basket down a stairwell where shadows play with fear, and she knows how much rests on her grip. She is careful as a priest with a chalice. Her breath is measured so that stairs do not turn to waves. The home front learns to bend. Powdered eggs appear in cans with labels like dull medals. People accept the ghosts of eggs and make them into meals through stubborn kindness. But when a real egg comes from a coop behind a house and the shell is thin-glossed and the yolk sits like morning captured in a circle, tears can rise without shame. It is a taste of what the world should be: simple, adequate, generous. Imagine a kitchen under blackout, the window a black coin. The table holds a plate, a spoon, a small cup chipped at the rim, and beside them, an egg. A candle, once your great-aunt's, stands in a jam jar. Its flame is an ember, kept close, a whisper, more than a shout. Shadows stay polite along the walls. The egg is cracked, stirred into something hot with a scraped potato, a sliver of onion, a tablespoon of hope. The spoon lifts a bite. It tastes like a familiar street you thought lost. It tastes like your name in a beloved voice. In the fields beyond the city, where fences lean and hedges learn new paths, the work is steady. Volunteers come from everywhere with hands that have known only books and pens, or gears and iron, or nothing but the softness of home. They learn hens, learn the polite argument of geese, learn how to walk quietly so that a nesting bird does not panic, spilling a day's worth of potential. The new apprentices laugh at their own clumsiness and, then sobered, try again. They do it for the town, for the kitchens where every bite is counted twice. The river looks different in these years. It carries more secrets under its surface. But dawn still finds it, and the fish still draw lines in their slow languages. Trees stand and offer the same benches of shade. Stars, when they dare, look down with the same ancient interest. And, in a million small corners, hands still lift eggs into baskets and carry them inward through doors that guard hope. Fear knocks often. Courage answers with a quiet voice that promises tea and does not overpromise what else it can do. In that voice is this: we will keep the hens warm, we will keep the basket steady, we will not break what is easily broken. Children learn to stand straighter by watching this. Elders learn to sit with their fear long enough that it grows bored and leaves. The egg moves from nest to palm to plate, and each movement is a vote cast in favor of tomorrow. When the worst nights pass, people gather under trees and breathe. There are no drums, no banners, just exhale after exhale, the communal body of a town learning its own breath again. Someone brings a pan, someone else brings bread, someone sets out eggs as if laying down cards in a winning hand. Butter, if there is any, is spread thin, but its fragrance is thick with relief. The sky, brave, allows stars again. The candles can bloom without scolding. The girl from the stairwell stands on a doorstep and holds an egg toward the night, as if offering it to whatever gods remain. She thinks of every stair she ever walked and how sometimes you can climb out of a dark place simply by not breaking what you carry. The egg, gentle and whole, reflects a star, and the star says nothing, but its light arrives, unchanged, from a world without sirens. Tomorrow people will carry baskets to markets that no longer have to whisper. They will buy as if the act were an embrace. They will meet the eyes of sellers and nod, not with words, but with a large understanding. They will go home, crack shells, listen for the little brittle sigh that says ready, and lay plates on tables that are the exact height of happiness. They will eat and call children in from alleys and leave the door open to let in a breeze that carries laughter instead of worry. This is how home wins, with eggs that stay unbroken, with hands that remember how to carry them, with kitchens that keep their dignity even when the world forgets its own. Cities learn to grow leaves again. On rooftops, planters line up like a row of small ships, sails green in the wind. Tomatoes climb twine, cucumbers dangle like lanterns, herbs throw their scents upward so that passing pigeons carry mint in their feathers and basil in their minds. Water tanks shine under sun, and small patches of soil absorb footsteps and secrets. It is possible here to meet a hen's eye and hear that comedic cluck echo between brick walls. It is possible to collect eggs while watching elevators move. In the distance, like vertical rivers, a person in a high place fills a tin pail with straw and places it beside a wooden box. It is not a farm, and yet it is as real as any field. The hen explores, inspects, scolds, and then approves, settling into the straw with the steady commitment of a long habit. Hours later, the person returns, heart a little quick. The egg rests. In the pail, like a joke the city played on itself, a joke so gentle it mends. Imagine bending to lift it. Imagine the skyline, your city spread like a map made of glass and willpower. Cars make river noises far below, and people's footsteps write their own poems on sidewalks no one sees. A breeze sneaks up a street, rides an alley, and lands on your roof, carrying the smell of rain on concrete and rosemary crushed under fingers. The egg is cool, and the shell shows a little bloom laid down by the bird without thinking, a gift in armor. The rooftop is a stage for many small returns. Noise thins out up here, and your thoughts walk at a kinder speed. You bring up a jug of water. You watch bees come and audition your flowers, wearing bracelets of yellow dust. In the evening, when the city turns its lights on, you light a candle in a jam jar and set it on the parapet. The flame looks brave. Stars decide to show themselves between the buildings, as if surprised to find space to twinkle. You hold an egg to the candle, and shadows rise within, maps of secret geography. In cramped apartments with generous souls, kitchens find their breath again. A soft towel on a counter, a bowl with a chip that doesn't matter, a pan that heats, like a friend's shoulder. Eggs from the rooftop meet butter from a co-op and chives from a window box. A slice of bread is toasted in a pan because the toaster broke last winter and never learned to love again. The egg sets, tender and silken, and you fold it over with care. You learn that care on mornings like this, when the city taught you how to slow down without leaving town. Children meet hens and are surprised by their personalities. One bird is a comic. Another is aloof. A third is a philosopher, staring at the horizon with one eye as if writing a thesis in her head. The children name them with solemn imagination. They learn to hold eggs with a dignity that city life does. Not always demand. They carry them like ambassadors from a gentler country, and for a few steps every child becomes a diplomat. Neighbors form a small nation of mutual aid. Someone waters your planters when you're away. Someone else brings
onion tops for the birds, chopped just so.
The woman with the red scarf knows how to fix broken lattice. The man with the paint-splattered shoes knows when hens need more grit. Everyone agrees that the eggs will be shared in a kind of currency that ignores money. Strings of kindness band. The building together in a weave that no landlord mandated but every tenant understands. The river down there still threads its way under bridges where joggers count breaths. It is a measured miracle, reflecting lights like a necklace shaken softly. At night, it moves with the same old purpose, and the city, despite all its noises, hears it like a lullaby. Trees in the parks lift their branches and pigeons settle, their grey bodies in line like a choir. The soft return is a feeling more than a fact. It is the moment your hand remembers how to lift an egg without asking your mind's permission. It is your breath slowing when you step into a small space where life is happening and needs you to be kind. It is the sight of a child carrying a pail with both hands, face intent, walking the way we walk when we understand that the world doesn't always need to be loud to be full. Under the stars that have learned to lean between skyscrapers, you and the people you love share something.
Simple.
Maybe it's midnight eggs on toast with pepper and laughter. Maybe it's a salad with thin coins of boiled egg slipped in as a surprise. The wind passes through your hair and continues on to the next rooftop, whispering the same small, holy truth. Keep doing this. Keep fetching. Keep not breaking. Keep trusting your hands in the shell. There is a skill that lives in the fingers. It cannot be written down, though words try. It cannot be bought, though tools pretend. It is learned in the half-light, with a candle cupped from the wind, with the heart at a patient pace. It is the
knowledge of pressure, of how much to give and how much to hold, of not squeezing hope the way fear tries to. A candle makes a small sphere of gold. Hold an egg to it, and you see what light sees. The delicate outline of a world within a world.
In older kitchens, this was an evening education, the kind children absorbed without knowing they were learning. Eyes adjusted. Breath slowed. The candle's flame climbed up the shell's curve and found its secrets. If there was a tiny crack, light would tell, slipping through like a whisper, trying to escape. If there was a flaw, it would show as a line where shadow did not match perfection. Hands learn to translate this language of glow and shade. Even without candling, even with only a palm and a thumb, you can hear an egg's condition. A good egg makes a sound that is almost no sound, a silence that sits comfortably in bone. A broken one rattles with a song of endings. Lift, tilt, listen. A life practice masquerading as a kitchen task. Imagine someone teaching you. Their hands, older and steadier, wrap yours from behind. You both stand at a table where a candle smudges light onto wood. Outside, the wind tests the shutters and approves. The teacher rolls the egg under your fingers so you feel the shell's softness, its very faint give. This is the right pressure, they say. But mostly they say nothing because your skin knows before your ears. This is how, they murmur. This is how you hold anything. An egg, a promise, a secret, another person's heart. In the woods, trees practice this too. They hold leaves gently until it is time to let them fall. They cradle nests, never squeezing too tight. The river carries boats as if they were eggs it truly loved, not rocking them beyond what the day can bear. The wind moves through stalks of wheat with a hush that feels like reverence. Nature kneels before fragility, and we learn kneeling from it. There are losses, inevitable and instructive. A dropped egg is a small heartbreak, a sun gone to ruin on the floor. The shell gives way with that short, bright sound, and then there is a puddle of gold and clear, and a rim of sharp white while you hurry for a rag. You apologize without words, because you know you could have done better. You clean it carefully, because that is how we make peace, with slow hands and no excuses. Next time, you steady your breath before you lift the basket. Next time, you
love with slightly softer palms. Not everything fragile wants protection.
Sometimes it wants recognition. A person who is in pain does not want to be held like an egg all the time. They want to be seen the way a candle sees an egg, gently, completely, without causing heat to scorch. We practice this in kitchens and farms and rooftop gardens, and we carry it into rooms where people say too little and hold too much. You think of all the candles you have ever watched, all the tiny suns you have borrowed, birthday candles with laughter behind them, vigil candles with tears, kitchen candles with onions and thyme in the air. Each flame taught you how to focus, how to make a circle of attention and put what matters inside it. Today, the egg is inside that circle. Some days a friend's voice is, some days your own heart is. This is not mysticism, it is practice. Hens with their bright eyes and brisk opinions teach us this without knowing it. Their trust is a gift. When a hen tolerates your hand under her warm body, when she allows your careful fingers to lift the egg she has made, she is not surrendering. She is inviting you into an ancient partnership. You accept by not breaking the trust she offers. You accept by setting the egg down in the basket as if baskets were made of breath, as if the straw were a cloud. There is a soft science to all this. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the precise note your breath makes when all your attention holds one point. It is a key that opens other doors: patience, forgiveness, endurance. The egg becomes a teacher, and the candle becomes a chalkboard, and the lesson is always the same sentence written many ways. Be gentle, be steady, be here. Night settles with the weight of a warm blanket. Stars nod yes to you from their cool distance. You blow out the candle, and the smoke climbs and curls, then vanishes like a thought complete. In the dark, you still feel the egg's weight in your palm, the exact curve of it fitted against your lifeline. It is comfort to remember.
A simple task and do it well.
Dawn returns, as it always does, with the delicate insistence of birdsong. The river inhales, forest edges glow as if lit from within. Grass holds pearls of dew that no king can buy. The hen house stirs. Inside, straw remembers sleep and makes a soft, shushing sound as feet adjust, as feathers settle, as a new day's small labor begins. You stand at the gate, not in a hurry. You have learned that the world answers best to unhurried hands. Your basket hangs from the crook of your arm. It is older now. It bears scars of many mornings, a broken reed repaired, a stain from a summer of berries, a shine where your hand polished it without thinking. The basket is a journal written in touch. You open the door and breathe the warm, dusty air. And you think of all the places this door opens, back through centuries to riverside courtyards, to olive groves, to bell-led villages, to winter cellars, to busy iron stations, to kitchens where courage was a flame under strict rules, to rooftops with herbs in tins, to tables where candles taught you how to see. You think of all the hands that have cradled eggs and decided every time to be gentler than they had to be. The future asks for this same hand. It asks for fields where soil is fed and not just used, for rivers that can be drunk by fish and children, with equal joy for forests that are not borders but neighbors, for hens that live in light and scratch under trees, their legs strong, their eyes curious, their dust baths pure delight. It asks for cities that leave room on rooftops for a chicken's small drama and a child's sudden laughter. It asks for trains that move without smoke and markets that glow with kindness as much as with lanterns. It asks for standards held like lullabies, not walls. Your hand remembers how to hold fragile things. It can learn new shapes to cradle, a seed that will be next year's beans, a shard of river glass that finds beauty in brokenness, the hand of someone tired who needs a steady squeeze to trust the day again. The memory in your palm is faithful. It translates across tasks. It knows what not to do. Do not rush, do not grip, do not multitask your care, and instead it learns the deeper do. Do be present, do breathe, do listen, to wait and whisper. The hens lay and hum their songs. A sunbeam enters like a cat, slow and certain. Dust glitters like a galaxy made small for you. You reach, and your hand moves as if led by music. The egg kisses your skin and settles. You curl and lift. The shell is a thin miracle. Your heart echoes it, a thin miracle wrapped in ribs, and both ask the same thing. Let me be, but be near. It is possible to gather too much and break what you gathered. The future warns gently against greed. The basket need not be heavy to be enough. The meal need not be grand to be grateful. The house need not be big to be generous. Enoughness is a nest for tomorrow. You line it with acts of patient care so that whatever day is hatched into it lands on softness. A child watches you and copies your movements. You do not teach with words, not many. You show the curve of the palm, the pace of the step, the way to settle an egg like a secret onto straw. The child feels the pride that runs without noise in the veins when you do a small thing well. The child sees you break one, perhaps, and hears you say, "Ah," not angrily, but sadly, and then, "We'll learn." The lesson flowers in the child's eyes. Mistakes are part of carrying. They do not end the story. They teach the hand a new line of music. At noon, you sit in the shade. The river nods sleepily. The forest makes that sound of summer that is part insect, part breeze, part memory of rain. You eat something simple and you can taste every inch of the journey that brought it to you. Gratitude is not a ceremony here. It is a breath, regular and easy. You extend your feet and let your body register the earth as a chair that will always hold your weight. Evening comes in on the wind, bringing stories from fields and cities. Lights blink on. Somewhere a train passes, quiet and clean. Somewhere else a rooftop garden laughs as someone discovers a surprise egg tucked in a pail. Somewhere a winter door closes and a basket enters, heavy with heat held against cold. Somewhere bells speak, telling the village that time is a kind friend. Somewhere a person holds an egg to a candle and feels the old awe that light brings to secrets. Everywhere the daily drama plays again, and hands keep their promise not to break, not to rush, not to forget. Night, kind and full of stars, spreads itself over the land. The river glows softly, reflecting a sky that looks like a bowl turned upside down to shelter you. Firelight in houses flickers, writing poems on walls. Trees sigh and sleep, their leaves whispering good night. If your eyes are heavy, let them close. Keep the shape of the egg in your palm and let it become the shape of rest. Breathe at the pace of river water at night. Let the wind comb your thoughts like a patient hand. You are part of a long, gentle story, told in 10,000 mornings. You have the hand that remembers. You have the basket that waits. You have the softness of straw, the warmth of hens, the stars that are always looking out for you. Sleep and wake to light, ready to carry the world without breaking it.